Well, good morning and welcome back to another edition of Bakersfield Business Partners podcast. My name is Duncan Harris, and we're just doing our weekly podcast where we highlight our members. Bakersfield Business Partners is a local networking group here in Bakersfield, California. We're a group of about 25 to 30 business owners and decision makers, and we meet every week to really help our businesses grow through referrals. But I also like to think through relationships. So we have the best group in Bakersfield, and that's why we're highlighting our members. So we have Mark Barnes here today, and he's going to talk a little bit about himself. Mark, just say hello.
Hello, how you doing? Thanks for having me this morning.
Yeah, glad to have you. So Mark owns a company, Minuteman Press. So just tell me a little bit, give me the 60-second intro of.
Sure. So, Minuteman Press is a full-service commercial print and marketing company. We offer all sorts of business services from things like, from as small as business cards to all the way up to a vehicle wrap. But we specialize in things like direct mail marketing and branded corporate apparel and promotional items, things like that.
Sure. Very cool. Now, how long have you been in the business?
I actually acquired the business. So it's been here locally for 37 years.
Oh, wow.
And I made the acquisition in November of 2019 and started operations December 2nd of 2019.
So the business is 37 years old. Who's older, you or the business?
I am.
Oh, okay.
We'll leave it at that.
You look like a young guy. All right.
You.
Well, that's exciting. That's awesome. So before you were running Minuteman Press, what were you doing?
So I was actually in a completely different industry. I was in oil and gas for 15 years and had a very successful, what I would call a very successful career in oil and gas. In my corporate career, I was a regional manager of a large publicly traded company that focused on, at least my last job, we were in manufacturing. And so I got a very close and personal look at manufacturing and the processes and this and that. And it really related, and there was a lot of carryover to what we do now at Minuteman Press because we're also a manufacturer. So you wouldn't realize it, but there's very similar processes, and it really helped that transition because ultimately we were just manufacturing a different widget.
Sure.
But it really helped, position me to help make that transition a little bit more smooth.
Sure. So you kind of envision yourself doing something similar, different industry, but manufacturing. Share with me a little bit, what was kind of the motivation to that's a big change for you, going from oil and gas to, printing and promotion. Can you share with me what was the motivation behind that?
Sure. So, first, I've always been entrepreneurial. I've always had that internal drive, if you will. I mean, I was subscribing to, Money Magazine when I was like 10 years old and different things like that. So it's always been there, and I was in sales for years and years as a younger person. So it's always kind of been there burning a little bit.
Good.
And I got to a point in my life and my career where I thought, okay, if I don't do it now, it's never going to happen. I'm married with children now. There's more on the line.
Still young. Come on.
Still young.
Yeah.
But there was more at risk now. And simultaneously, I was at this corporate level job, and I was traveling a lot. I had to go back to Texas and Canada and different places, and I was away from my family. And one year I was in a management meeting in Texas during Halloween, and I missed my young kids' Halloween, and that really affected me personally. That I had to be there and missed that, and so I vowed not to miss anything more. And then fast forward 6 months, and I was in Canada at another manager's meeting, and I didn't even realize it, but my son was graduating from preschool, and I was there for a week, and it was on the Friday, and we had this large gathering at dinner, and I was at this very nice restaurant and completely tuned out. I had earphones in my ears, and I was FaceTiming with my wife and just had my phone on the table, watching my son in his little preschool graduation walk across the stage, and it crushed me. Meanwhile, there was other things happening at a macroeconomic level within the oil and gas industry, so there was some uncertainty there, and so I began looking at opportunities, and I found this opportunity as well as some others, and after going through that process for 10 months. Ultimately I made the decision to
Jump
join
in.
Minuteman Press. Yeah. Pretty wild.
What a powerful moment. That's a kind of surreal picture to see you at that, fancy business meeting, doing the FaceTime with your family.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, that'll stick with me. So obviously your family is important to you.
Absolutely.
You're married. And how many kids do you have?
I have 2 boys.
How old are they?
Grayson's my oldest. He'll be 8 in 2 weeks.
Okay.
And Connor is 17 months behind him. So 6.5.
Oh, sweet. That's fun times.
Definitely. Interesting and busy times, right? They keep us busy.
Yeah, no, mine are 8 and 5. My son will be 6 here in a month. So we're the same. I have a girl and a boy. But yeah, that is I think, what adds the most value and meaning to our lives. I love to meet the members of our group, because what I find out in talking to you and to other people is that it's really you're motivated by people, whether it's your family or your customers. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And I think that's the strength of our group. I think that's what makes the quality of our group so high, is that we're really all people, pleasers, and
Yep.
That's what's most important to us. So anyhow, I'm glad you shared that little intimate moment. Thanks for doing that. So let's go back to your business. So if you could kind of give me a more detailed look, or maybe just kind of the spectrum of everything Minuteman Press does. You kind of touched on it, from car wraps to business cards to pens, but maybe explain exactly how you're working with, some small businesses here in Bakersfield, things that you do.
Sure. So, I'll just kind of take it back a little bit. We like to say that anything you can put a logo or a picture on, we can produce for you.
Sure.
But what does that mean, and what does that look like? In some cases, we really like to think that we're helping businesses grow, helping businesses brand themselves and get their name out there. There's a company that we're working with right now, as a matter of fact, on a direct mail marketing campaign. Actually, I'm going to be mailing it later today. And this gentleman started this business. It's in the medical field, and he is looking to reach out to medical clinics and providers that use things like sharp needles and that need to dispose of them in the proper ways. And so we're beginning today, month 1, on a 3-month mailing campaign to reach out to these clinics. And so it'll be interesting to see, as he reaches out to these clinics and then follows up with them through phone calls or
Right.
in-person sales calls, what kind of traction he gets. And it's really neat to kind of stand back a little bit and watch these companies start their path forward and
Yeah.
to grow, and to be part of that is really something. And being in business for other people and help them accomplish their goals is really rewarding.
That's really cool. So, a business person or a company will come to you and they'll say, hey, this is our idea. This is our new product, or we're trying to grow into this market. And then you say, okay, we can do a mailing campaign, or we can do some logo, or, let's clean up your business cards or stationery.
Right.
So you're kind of solving problems
We like
all
to
the
think
time,
so.
right?
Yes. Yeah.
Not creating more.
No. I definitely would consider myself a problem solver. I think we have to be in business.
Sure.
Nothing really, you hope in theory everything goes right, but we know behind the scenes that there's always an opportunity to solve a problem. So I tell my staff that, all the time, this is an opportunity to solve a problem.
Aren't we so fortunate that we have this opportunity to fix this? No, that's great.
Yeah. But no, we like to think that we can help people with anything. Obviously, the print industry has a legacy kind of, standard and feeling about it, but the industry has changed and evolved over the years. We've incorporated different product lines. People might think of letterhead, for example, when they think of printing, or they might think of a quick copy, like a Kinko's, for example. We don't think of ourselves as a quick copy. In fact, we're not even on a main thoroughfare. We're kind of off in the background. We like to think of ourselves more at a commercial level, larger volumes for corporate clients and that sort of thing. Certainly, we will help people that walk in off the street and need something.
Sure.
Of course, but we try to keep it a little bit higher level if we can, and partner with organizations long term.
That's awesome. So what do you think sets you apart or Minuteman Press apart from your competitors?
It's a good question. I think obviously we have a commitment to our customer success, and we feel that we're vested in that. As they grow, we'll grow. As they're prosperous and successful, so too we then we will be as well. It's like that bumper sticker. If you help enough other people get where they want to be, you'll find yourself there. Something along those lines, right?
Yeah.
And so we really try to take a strong commitment to helping them reach their goals. And, I think our customer service is second to none. We have 80 or more, 5-star Google reviews, and we've got some wonderful people in the organization, and our clients rave about them and thank them all the time.
You do have a good team. I will say that. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, when clients are bringing food and snacks and treats to us as a thank you, that really drives home, what we're doing and the impact we're making. And, so we're just very proud of that, and we hope that we can continue that, level of service.
So what's an ideal customer for you?
Really an ideal customer for us is an organization, between 10 and 50 employees, something like that, that has a message that they need to put out into the marketplace, whatever that message might look like, whether it's some active campaign that they need to begin, or whether it's as simple as brand recognition and just staying top of mind. But we're really in the graphic communication business, and helping get messaging out into the marketplace for our customers. So any business that has a message, would be a good client for us.
Yeah, a business trying to get the message out.
Yeah.
I totally get that. Here's an interesting question. You work with a lot of customers, and the questions, it's like this: what is a common pitfall that you see businesses making, or that you see your clients making, or what is a tip that you could give them that might save them some time or some money?
Well, that's a great question. I would say plan ahead. I know human nature is, potentially to wait till the last minute. In our business, we see this every day. There are events. I'll give you an example. There was the World Ag Expo last month, and we got inundated with last-minute phone calls from marketing teams that had to go to this show and have a booth there that waited till the last minute to get things. Now, certainly we do everything we can to accommodate that,
right.
But we did, but it certainly, it puts a pressure on supply. What we have on hand, what's available, not to mention what's going on with the supply chain issues anyhow. But planning ahead will make everybody's life easier. And of course, sometimes there is a rush fee. And so if you're looking to save money and save yourself a little bit of stress, a few extra days can really go a long way.
Extra days. Okay, I was thinking like a month or 2 months, but I mean, what's the average time that you'd like to see, maybe like run up time or lead up time for a client?
Well, really, we like to say 5 business days after they approve the proof of their artwork, for example.
The artwork, the concept. Yeah.
Right. Now, there are some macroeconomic supply chain issues that we're managing through. So we've kind of extended that a little bit in certain cases, 5 to 7 business days for certain items and that sort of thing. But ultimately, if they could allow for about a week, 5 business days, that would allow for, you never know what's going to happen. We're working with manufacturing and mechanical equipment. There are mechanical failures, and inevitably it happens at the worst possible time. So just to give ourselves a little bit of wiggle room, we like to ask for that. Now, we do obviously strive to beat that, but again, it just allows for a little bit smoother experience for everyone.
Talk about some of the supply chain issues that you're having. Obviously, I assume it's related to COVID, and then the supply chain issues that the economy as a whole is facing. Can you just touch on that? Do you see them going away soon? Is it going to be a persistent long-term problem?
It's a great question. You may not even realize it, but there is a supply crunch with paper at the mill level. There's actually some of our most common card stock. It's called coated card stock.
For business cards.
For business cards.
Yeah.
It's our most common card stock that we use for business cards. And in the manufacturing process, they use latex in that coating.
Okay.
Well, there's a supply chain issue with latex. So they can't get the coating on the most common business cards. Mills are having, again, just issues getting their raw materials that they need to manufacture the paper at their level. Then if you layer in the
so is that all going back to COVID? Is it that we don't have enough workers, or that the factory was closed because they couldn't work indoors? Like what?
I think it's actually all of those things. So when COVID happened and people went home, right? Mills shut down, manufacturing shut down, or reduced in great quantities. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden when things open up, everybody needs everything again, but the mills and the manufacturing and the facilities all have to ramp back up. It takes a while to A, get rid of the backlog, sure, and then B, do the normal, what you would call your normal day-to-day, quantities. And so you actually have to overproduce for a period of time. Well, now you can't find the employees either. For one reason or another, mm-hmm, there just seems to be a labor shortage in the market. So you kind of layer in that now, and you've got just this recipe for shortages on just, different items that people use every single day.
Interesting. Well, hopefully we can get past that. That's frustrating. But tell me, obviously you're working with businesses, you're helping them grow. I guess really you're helping people accomplish their goals. But I mean, what's besides all that I just ruined your answer? What's the best part about your job? What's the best part about being a Minuteman Press owner? I know it just came out, like it just flowed out there.
Yeah, well, obviously those things that you mentioned, changing lives, and whether that's my employees or whether that's our end users. But there's a long tail effect, so if we're able to support an organization to grow and to sustain themselves, they have employees too. And those employees have families, and those, mm-hmm, families are relying on those businesses. So sure, it's not just it's not just me, it's not just my family, it's not just our company. It goes a long way. Everything we do, there's a long tail of effect. And so we hope that effect is a positive one.
Oh, that's awesome. So let's switch gears here. Let's talk a little bit about BNI. When did you join BNI? I forget. How long has it been?
Boy, I
don't remember.
Too.
Has it been a year? How long have you been in the group?
I want to say it's coming up on a year. It's coming up on a year. Maybe just under. We're probably at the 10-month level.
10-month level? Okay. I mean, talk about your decision to join BNI. Tell me how it's going.
So my decision to join BNI, I actually made a decision to join BNI long before I joined. It was just a matter of finding the right group. And I don't know if you remember, but I actually toured this group at one time about a year before I joined. And there was some, what I would consider overlap with some different people that if there was a Venn diagram of offerings, mm-hmm, there was a couple people where we had some overlap, and I just felt like it wasn't my place to then come in and step on any toes or anything like that. So
I remember now. Yeah.
Yeah. So I moved on. I looked at some other groups. This is personal now. I wasn't quite as impressed in some of those other groups with those other groups as I was with this group. But ultimately, I did find a really good second group or backup group that I was confident enough in that group that it would be a good fit, that I was going to join it. Ultimately, I did not, because it turned out to have a conflict with my Rotary weekly Rotary meeting. So I didn't join that group. And I think, all things happen for a reason, right? So some time passed, and I heard that there might be an opening, mm-hmm, in this group, which was obviously the one I always wanted to be a part of.
You have to say that because you're on the podcast, right?
Well, no, I mean, this is legitimately true. Yeah.
I'll give you $20 after the show.
Thank you. But really, so once the opportunity presented itself, there was no decision. It was just, when can I start? And it's been great. For me, BNI has been just an opportunity to network, obviously, with other business owners, but really something that I look for is getting some mentorship getting a little bit of wisdom, for the people that have been through some of these struggles. Business ownership is not easy. It's hard. And we mentioned problem solving, but we get a lot of problem solving opportunities. And sometimes you just need somebody to bounce things off of.
Yep.
And so there's opportunities for that within BNI. And, I really look for that. So I'm happy to be here.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Has it helped your business grow at all, do you think?
It has helped my business grow. I think not just from the actual referrals, but again, from some of the things that I just mentioned.
That you're learning from, yeah.
Exactly right. Things I'm learning from, even if it's just, an attitude adjustment or an encouragement or something to help me perform at a little bit higher level. Those are the intangible components of what BNI can bring to the table. And that's equally important for me.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, that's something I guess I don't think about or touch on. But you're right. Yeah, you're 100% right. I mean, I know for me, when I go weekly, sometimes I kind of compare it to going to the gym, where sometimes you don't really want to go. You're like, oh, but I know I should. And then every time I leave BNI, I feel uplifted. Yeah. I feel energized. I've learned something. I feel more positive. Yeah. And I never regret going to our weekly meeting for the reasons you just mentioned. So, no, you're right. That's great perspective. So, well, look, I mean, that kind of wraps it up. Do we miss anything? Anything else you want to share? Or?
I think we covered just about everything.
All right, perfect. So thanks for being here, and you're an excellent member of the group. Glad that you made the decision to join. For those listening, if you're interested in meeting with us or joining our group, like I said, we meet weekly on Tuesday mornings at 7:30. We light breakfast, and then we all just give like educational commercials about our businesses. And the idea is that the other members of the group will know who we are, know what we do, and that they could refer clients and business to us. And so we're really helping our businesses to grow through referrals, but also, as Mark touched on, through relationships. When you join the group, you're going to meet people, you're going to learn from them, you're going to be uplifted in a positive way. And that's why, it's obvious to business owners to be in a group like Bakersfield Business Partners, like BNI. So anyhow, thanks for joining us. Have a good week. That concludes our podcast. And until next time, take care.
Thank you.